grade 11s, it's accounting today. I'm so excited. I'm here with my lovely lady, Mahesh, and I'm so excited that you guys are here because we are doing, as you know, revisions. Grade 11s, that is so important for you, and I just want to tell you that I'm so excited to be here again on a fantastic Thursday. So Mahesh, how have you been?
I'm fantastic, Megan.
Fantastic, why so?
And isn't it fantastic? And I know we're using the word fantastic again. To be here and to be able to help the grade 11s for a change.
I know, it's always grade 12s, not that they're not important, but grade 11s, your studies are also important and we care about you. So what are we doing today?
Today, grade 11s, we're focusing on reconciliations. And remember, guys, for you, when we talk about reconciliations, the focus shifts to bank recon and creditors recon.
Okay, well, Mahesh told me, she was like, can I ask you questions? So I said, oh, well, she can try, but I'll do my best because I know you guys want me to help you and we all just want to work together as, you know, team mindset. But let me just stop there and let me carry on with all the other things we have going here at Mindset. As you know, Mindset and Samsung have partnered up. Samsung have proudly sponsored the Learning Hub application. Voila, let me show you on this fantastic Samsung tablet. The word fantastic comes up again. Here, as you can see, it's the Learning Hub. There, you download content, you download free content, and it's new content every single day, guys. How amazing is that? Super cool. All you have to do is download it on a Samsung tablet or premium smartphone. But you know what? If you don't have one of those, you guys could win one. And how do you do that? Log on to our Facebook page, facebook.com/learnextra with an X. We've posted all the details. All you guys have to do is download the notes that we're doing on this show right now. Look for the race number at the bottom and enter it into the link on Facebook. But you could win either a tablet or anything. So we had a draw yesterday. That could be you, Mindsetter. Enter, enter, enter. Your name will go into another 6 or 9 draws. How amazing and cool is that? You could win yourself a cool tablet. But don't forget as well, Samsung just want to tell you, if I can just put over here, that it's revision and a video, so coincides, you can see and learn, and it's all about revision. I just wanted to reiterate that. But enough about me. I just want to rock on to reconciliation, and I think we should get started, Mindsetters. So let's go, Mahesh. I think we should.
Thanks, Megan. Right, guys, grade 11s, today we're going to be focusing on reconciliations, and more specifically, look at the bank reconciliation, and thereafter, if we have time, we're going to focus on your creditors reconciliation. Now, let's start, before we go to an actual question, by doing a very quick recap on what is a bank reconciliation. What do we need to look at when we are completing a bank reconciliation question in that November exam? Okay, let's just get rid of this. There we go. Right, firstly, guys, your definition. What is a bank recon? A bank reconciliation is a comparison of the internal records meaning something that is prepared by you, the business's accountant, and, okay, let's just start over. A bank reconciliation is a comparison of internal records, we've got that part, to the external records of a business. Right, now let's look at internal records. I already mentioned an internal record is what is prepared by the business's accountant. Now, which records are we talking about? Here, we are focusing on the cash journals, so your CRJ and your CPJ, that's prepared by the accountant, the bank general ledger account, and the previous month's bank reconciliation statement. Now, those are your internal records prepared by you, the business's accountant. Right, the external records. What do we mean by external? Now, the word external, okay, let's just undo that. The word external, guys, if I had to ask, let's ask Megan.
Oh, great.
Okay. Megan, the word external, what do you understand by that term?
Outside.
Outside.
Not internal. Externals being outside. Yeah, I would just say outside.
Absolutely
Just
correct.
outside.
Outside, in other words, it is prepared by an external accountant, the bank's accountants, and this is in the form of the bank statement. Okay, so your definition. Firstly, a bank reconciliation is a comparison. I am comparing internal records prepared by the business's accountant to external records prepared by the bank's accountant. Okay, you guys got that? Right, the comparison is necessary and an important internal control as errors and omissions meaning certain things may be left out, are identified. Okay, so it serves as an internal control measure against cash, hence it is absolutely vital, and it helps the business identify errors that were made as well as omissions, items that were left out. Right, guys, now very, very quickly, if I had to give you a very simple example of a bank reconciliation, let's assume that in our general ledger, we have a bank balance of 10,000 Rand as per our records, but when we receive that bank statement, on that bank statement, the bank tells us that you only have a balance of 6,000. Okay, remember, we're not going to go to the bank and fight with them and tell them what happened to our 4,000. We are now expected to do a reconciliation. In other words, reconcile, look at items that maybe the bank left out or items that we left out and be able to reconcile. Right, absolutely important that you consider the following when completing a bank reconciliation statement. Okay, firstly, errors that are recorded in the bank statement but are not recorded in the cash journals. So you may find entries that are already in the bank statement, so in other words, in your external record, but it is not recorded in the cash journals. Cash journals is obviously your internal records. Now, what do we do with these items? It is in the bank's records but not in our records. Absolutely correct, guys. We now need to update our journals. Okay, so we're going to be updating our records, as in updating our CRJ and CPJ, our journals. Right, the second important item to consider. Entries recorded in the cash journals. So it is recorded in the internal records, entries recorded in the cash journals, but not recorded in the bank statement. So in other words, guys, we've made entries for certain items in our CRJ and our CPJ, but when we examine the bank statement, these entries are not recorded in the bank statement. What do we do with these types of items? Okay, correct. I'm sure you guys are getting this. These items are recorded on the bank reconciliation statement. Okay, right, then, number 3, something else to consider. Errors made by the business. So in other words, when we make certain errors, we make certain mistakes in our CPJ and our CRJ, as the accountant, you then have the duty to correct these errors. So you're going to be correcting the errors that you've made in your record. In other words, in your journal. Right, and then finally, the last item that I'm going to explain for us to also consider, there could be errors made by the bank. So for example, ABSA, FNB, Standard Bank, whoever the business banks with, could make certain errors. Right, Megan, let's give you a very simple error. Let's assume that you get a statement from your bank, and there is a deposit of 10,000 Rand
Got
into
paid.
your account.
Oh, so happy.
Got paid, but it comes from a source that you cannot identify. You don't know how the money came into your account. And when you look at the details, it gives you some random company's name.
Yeah.
What are you going to do, Megan? And you are, I'm assuming, not assuming, I know, you are a good, loyal citizen.
That is actually true. Well, I know that I can't just use the money because that is bad. We've dealt with that before. So I would go to, I don't know, I would go to the bank and ask them, listen, this money's been deposited into my account. And then I don't know what they would say.
Right, absolutely correct. You're going to go to the bank. You're going to inform the bank that 10,000 Rand is now in your bank account.
Yeah.
You have no idea where this money is coming from. You're going to obviously let the bank be aware that they have made an error. They've put in 10,000 Rand that is actually not your money.
Yes.
Okay. If the opposite happens, let's assume by mistake the bank debits your account, Megan.
Right there, call line. Excuse me.
Okay.
I'll phone the bank.
Again, you're going to inform the bank.
Yes.
So guys, when there is an error that is made by the bank on the bank statement, we're going to obviously inform the bank and make a note of this on the bank reconciliation statement. Okay, you guys got that. Right, let's now quickly move on to the creditors reconciliation, and let's do a quick recap on what is a creditors reconciliation. A creditors reconciliation is also, guys, a comparison between the creditors ledger being your internal record, what your accountant or the business's accountant prepares, and the creditors statement being the external record. Okay, so in other words, remember, you in grade 11 and you know who is a creditor or the definition of a creditor. Creditor, obviously people or suppliers to whom the business owes money to. Now remember, your creditor's ledger is an internal record where you have a list of entries in terms of a particular creditor entered into that creditor's ledger. So for example, guys, we could have a certain supplier. Okay, and according to our creditors ledger, we are owing this supplier an amount of 6,000 Rand. Now, at the end of the month, the supplier is going to send us a statement, the statement being the creditor's statement, and let's assume on that statement there is a balance of 11,000. So immediately, it is necessary for us to do a reconciliation. Why is my balance different from the creditor's balance? Let's do a reconciliation. Let's check whether we have made certain errors or we've made certain omissions, or whether the creditor has made certain errors on their statement or left out certain items. Okay, again, guys, it is a very important control measure, and it helps you to identify errors or omissions. Okay, right, we've done a quick recap. I don't know whether we have time to get started with a question, Megan. Should we start?
How long do you think it will take?
Okay,
is that
I think
the question
let's just quickly read through the information, and then we can get we can take a quick break and then get started.
Okay, I'll do that.
Okay. Right, guys, what I'm going to do is I don't want to start with question 1. And I'm going to ask you, the questions are posted on Facebook. It is on our page. If you can attempt question 1, I want to start with question 2. If we have time towards the end, I will then look at question 1. Right, question 2 wants us to complete the following. It is a question on bank reconciliation. Okay, the information below was extracted from the accounting records of CC suppliers required for this question. Calculate the updated cash receipts journal and the cash payments journal totals for the month of December 2009. Then they want us to draw up the bank account in the general ledger, again for the same month, December 2009. The third part of the question, prepare the bank reconciliation statement as at 31st December 2009, and then They move on to question 4 that wants us to explain why it is important for a business to prepare a bank reconciliation statement on a monthly basis. Question 4, guys, I'm not going to go through because I've already explained why it is necessary to prepare a bank reconciliation statement. And the very last question wants us to briefly explain the procedure to be followed when a business receives a post-dated check, or a PDC. Okay, so those are the questions that relate to this particular question itself on bank reconciliation statement. Megan, I think before we go to the information, let's take a quick break and then we can carry on.
Perfect, Mahesh. Guys, like you said, we're going to take a quick break, but you know what? You don't go anywhere. Don't touch that controller because Mindset Learn Extra will be back after the break. And we're back, Mindset is grade 11's revision accounting just for you. You are here with me, Megs, and of course our Mrs. Accounting, Mahesh. So I hope you guys are getting ready. You're all fired up and ready to go because we're going to carry on with question 2, not 1. I'm trying to get it, but I have posted the notes for you. If you don't know where to get the notes, just hit us up, and that is facebook.com/learn extra. So I think we should go question 2.
Okay, brilliant. Right, guys, question 2, remember, just before the break, we read what we need to complete. We need to complete the updated CRJ, updated CPJ, a general ledger. Let's just write that for you guys. So we need to also complete the bank general ledger, T account, and thereafter the bank reconciliation statement. Now, as I'm reading through the information, you're going to find, as I'm going through each bit of info, I'm going to either be slotting this into the cash receipts journal, the cash payments journal, or the bank reconciliation statement. Okay, so let's get started. Information number 1 tells us the following. The provisional totals of the cash receipts and cash payments journal as at 31st December were 52,900 and 74,840 respectively. In other words, information number 1 tells us before looking at the bank reconciliation, sorry, not the bank reconciliation, the bank statement, this is what our CRJ, CPJ totals were at. So let's start by filling in these provisional totals. So let's start with the CRJ, 52,900. Let's go to our answer sheet. Okay, so CRJ, we've got an amount of 52,900. So that's my provisional total before I get to any adjustments that I need to make. And then CPJ, my provisional total is an amount of 74,840. So back to our answer sheet. Okay, CPJ, an amount of, Megs, do you remember that amount?
No, sorry, I missed that.
It's an amount of 74,840.
Okay, I'll remember it now.
74,840. Okay, so we've brought down our provisional totals. We looked at information 1. Right, let's move on. The second bit of information, bank reconciliation statement as at the 30th of November 2009 is now given to us. Now remember, guys, this is obviously your previous month's bank reconciliation statement. And this is absolutely important because the information that will follow after this bank reconciliation statement, or after we've looked at this, might deal with the items that's appearing on the November's bank recon statement. So if we quickly examine the items that are given, we've got an unfavorable balance as per bank statement, so unfavorable, obviously an overdraft, so I'm going to put a minus sign. Outstanding deposit of 19,500, so I'm going to put a plus next to deposit. Outstanding checks, and there are quite a few. There's 5 outstanding checks, and remember your outstanding checks, I'm going to put a minus next to your outstanding checks. And then balance as per bank general ledger, there's a question mark, it is not given to us. Now, this amount is absolutely important because remember, the closing balance at the end of November becomes the opening balance for the month of December. Okay, so let's work out what is that opening balance for December. So let's get the calculator out again. So we're starting off with a negative. So let's start by adding all our negatives. So we've got 13,420. Just looking for the minus. Okay, let's just add all our negatives. Plus, then we've got a whole lot of checks. 865, the first. Plus, the next check is an amount of 1,340. Okay, plus the next check, 2,080, plus check number 4, 2,880, plus 1,000. Okay, so I've got all my negatives minus my positive, just one item at the top, so minus 19,500. To give me my bank balance of 2,085 Rand. And remember, this is a negative figure, 2,085. So let's fill that in. Okay, 2,085. And like I said earlier on, the closing balance for November becomes the opening balance for the month of December. So let's bring down this opening balance into our answer sheet. So my answer sheet. Okay. Right, there we go. So there's my bank account. It should be, there we go, at the bottom. Let's just extend that page there. So remember, bank is a negative. It's a liability minus plus. And then on the credit side, there's an amount of 2,000. And I think it was 85, correct, 2,085. That becomes my opening bank balance. So balance brought down at the beginning of December. Okay, right, let's move on. Okay, there we go. Right, the next bit of information, information number 3. Additional information with regards to the bank reconciliation statement for November 2009. So we now have additional information given to us with regards to the bank reconciliation statement for the previous month. Right, the first bit of information tells us check number 2468 was issued in favor of Dino Sports Club as a donation on the 2nd of June 2009. Now remember guys, we are currently in the month of December, and this check was issued on the 2nd of June. It does not appear in the December bank statement. In other words, Dino Sports, even in December, they did not go and cash this check at the bank. Okay, now immediately a check that was issued for more than 6 months is now considered to be a stale check. So if you want to quickly check, 2nd of June, and we've obviously now completed the month of December, which clearly indicates that this check is older than 6 months, hence it is considered a stale check. What do we mean by a stale check? Megs, do you want to try? What do you think we mean by a stale check? Dino Sports Club had 6 months to go and cash the check.
It's not valid anymore?
It's not valid. There, Megs, you're doing absolutely brilliantly.
Heck yeah.
Okay, so it's not valid anymore. In other words, this check has been outstanding since June, since it was issued. And it's this check above here. Okay? So it's check number 2,468, a check issued for 865 Rand. So this check has now become stale and needs to be cancelled in your cash receipts journal. Remember guys, when we issued the check and made an entry in the cash payments journal. How do I cancel? by making an entry in the CRJ, Cash Receipts Journal. So let's cancel this check for 865 Rand in our CRJ. Let's go to our CRJ. Okay, that's our cash receipts. Let's find it. There we go. CRJ. So remember, the check was a donation. Okay, so the contra account that will get affected will be donations, and the check, we're cancelling an amount of 865. Let's quickly double check. That's the amount. Yeah, 865. So we've now cancelled the check in the CRJ. So I'm going to cross this out. We've now dealt with the first item in terms of the previous month's bank recon statement. Right, let's move on. Okay, the second bit of information given to us still regarding the previous month's bank recon statement is with regards to check number 2472. Okay, so let's quickly find that check. So it's this one here, 2472, an amount of 1,340. So let's look at why this check is still outstanding. Check number 2472 was issued to CNA for stationery. The check was lost in the post, so in other words, CNA never got the check. It was decided to replace the check with check number 276 on the 31st of December, and then they tell you no entry has been made in the relevant journals. Okay, very important, guys. Understand what happened and then try and make the necessary entries. Then attempt the necessary entries in the CRJ and CPJ. So you've got this check that was issued to CNA and it was posted. The check, unfortunately, got lost in the post, so CNA never received the check. Now, remember, guys, you cannot blame CNA for this, can you, Megs?
No, why would you
No.
post a check?
You can't.
First of all.
Okay, that's another issue
Just
that
saying.
we're not going to talk about now.
No.
But CNA is not responsible for the check being lost. The business still has a responsibility to pay CNA. So the first thing that the business needs to do is they need to cancel the check that was lost in the post. And again, by cancel, we mean make an entry in your CRJ and thereafter issue a new check to CNA. By issuing a new check, you then need to also make an entry in the CPJ. Now remember, guys, if this check is issued at the end of December, the bank reconciliation statement is obviously prepared also at the end of December, which means this new check, check number 2760, will also be an outstanding check in that bank reconciliation statement. Okay, so very quickly, what are we going to do with entry number 2? We're going to first cancel in the CRJ. So let's start by doing just that. Let's cancel this check for 1,340 in our cash receipts journal. Okay, so there's our cash receipts journal. It was for stationery. Okay, and the amount that we're cancelling, 1,340. So we've done the first part. The second part wants us to, so we've cancelled the check. Let's bring this down. So this is done. The second part, issue a new check. So we're now going to issue a new check in the CPJ. So let's go and update our cash payments journal. The cash payments journal. Okay, that should be the cash payments journal. There we go. So we now have a new check that was issued to pay CNA for 1,340. Again, because this check was issued on the last day, the last part in terms of this particular adjustment or information is for us to also show it as an outstanding check in the bank reconciliation statement. So let's do that. Let's go to our answer sheet. Let's find the bank recon statement. Okay, there we go. There's our bank recon. and we've got debit outstanding check, and this outstanding check 1,340, and you guys can obviously fill in the check number. Okay, right, let's look at the next bit of info. Okay, our next bit of information given to us still on the previous month's bank recon statement. A deposit for 19,500 Rand appears in the December bank statement. Okay, guys, so remember, in the previous month, which was November, we had an outstanding deposit for 19,500. This deposit could have been made on the last day of November, and hence it is outstanding. The information now tells us that in December's bank reconciliation statement, that deposit now appears. So all we've got to do, guys, is simply tick this off. Okay, we're just going to tick it off. In other words, it was outstanding, it now appears, no additional entry needs to be made. Okay, you guys got that? Right, let's move on to the next bit of info. Okay, next bit of information given to us. Check number 2631 appears in the December bank statement. So again, previous month, check number 2631. So it's this one here, guys. So the previous month, this check was outstanding. It's now appearing. In other words, the check, whoever it was issued to, they went to the bank, they presented the check for payment, they've now been paid, so it's no longer outstanding. So again, no additional entry is required. Okay. Right, next bit of information. Check number 2645. These check numbers are confusing, Megs.
I know.
Huh? Check number
almost the same.
2645. Yeah. In favor of Mermaid Advertisers for advertising appears in the bank statement as 2,680. The bank statement amount is correct. Okay. Right, Megs, I want you to pay attention for this one.
Okay.
Because I want you to work this one out for me.
Wish me luck.
Okay. So we've got a check, an amount of 2,680. It appears on the bank statement, and this amount is correct. So I'm going to put a tick next to this amount. But let's look at when we entered the check in the CPJ. By mistake, the accountant entered the check as an amount of 2,880. So I just want to write it down for you so you can tell me exactly what happened. So when we entered it in our CPJ by mistake, and it has to be a male accountant because only they make these errors.
Only they do.
Only they make it. Okay, so they made a mistake and they entered it in the CPJ as 2,880, which is incorrect.
Yes.
Now, have we as in the accountant, have we written too much in our CPJ or too little?
Too much.
We've written too much. So we've overstated the check. We've written too much of how much? Okay, I'll help you with this one.
Oh, was this? I was like, oh, she's going to do it.
Okay, so we've written too much, the difference being 200 Rand. So in our cash payments journal, we have overstated the check. We've made a mistake. We've written in too much of 200 Rand. If I want to now correct my cash payments journal, unfortunately, no Tipex is allowed. Okay, so any corrections needs to be made by an entry, a journal entry. So in order for me to remove 200 Rand, I now need to make an entry in the opposite journal, which is the CRJ, to cancel off the error that we made.
Yes.
Okay, so that's exactly what we're going to do.
Yes.
Okay, so let's do that. So let's go to our CRJ and let's now make an entry for 200 Rand in the CRJ. So let's find that. Okay, so CRJ should be this one. There we go. So in the CRJ, 200. Okay, and this was for advertising. Okay. Right, Megs, do we have any questions? Can we take a quick ad break?
I think we should take a break and then I'll look if there's any questions from you mindsetters. Don't stress, but don't go anywhere, mindsetters. We'll be right back after this short ad break. Welcome, grade 11. So I know a lot of you have been asking, what's happening with this competition, whatever. So I just want to tell you, if you want the chance to win, guys, all you have to do is enter. We can't do another draw until we have enough entries. So like I said, just go to our Facebook page, facebook.com/learn Xtra, and then all you have to do is click on the link, download the notes, and you know what, enter once and you could win 9 other prizes. Well, I think it's 8 now since the draw, but that is the gist of it. Someone asked me if there's another draw, and we can't do another draw until then. But with other things to say, we have accounting now, and I have a question for dear Mahesh. She says, Tembi asks, what is the difference between favorable and unfavorable balance?
Okay. Right, Tembi, favorable balance simply means I have money in my bank account.
Okay.
Okay? It also means bank is an asset because that money in my bank account belongs to me. Unfavorable is the complete opposite. I do not have money in my bank account and I'm borrowing money from the bank. In other words, I've got a bank overdraft. I'm using the bank's money. Because I'm using the bank's money, I will owe the bank that money. I need to pay the bank, and hence, bank is a liability.
Okay, well, I hope that answered your question, Tembi.
Okay.
And I think that's all. I think we have to carry on.
We have short time. I want to finish this bank recon. Right, guys, the last question, or the last bit of information relating to the bank statement. The bank statement for December 2009 shows an unfavorable bank balance. In other words, bank is an overdraft of 17,880. So remember, the balance on the bank statement for the month of December, 17,880. We're now going to take this figure to our bank reconciliation statement. So let's do that. Let's go to our answer sheet. Okay, and let's find our bank recon statement. There we go. Right, so we've got balance as per bank statement, unfavorable. Remember, unfavorable as per bank statement is a debit balance, and it is a debit balance of 17,800. I'm just going to quickly double check the amount. 17,880. There we go. 17,880. Okay. Right, back to the info. So let's move on. Information number 3. After comparing the cash journals for December to the bank statement for the month of December, the following discrepancies or differences were found. So the very first one, okay, we've got entries in the bank statement for December not appearing in the cash journal. So in other words, it's in the bank's records, but not in our records. So now we need to update our records further. So let's look at the first bit of information. We've got an unpaid check for 2,800 Rand from G. Gordon in payment of his account of 2,950. Now, guys, please remember, this 2,950 is what G. Gordon was owing the business. Obviously, he received a discount. Whenever you're looking at the bank reconciliation, always focus on the actual amount that was paid or the amount that was received, in this case, from G. Gordon. In other words, the 2,800. So we thought this guy had 2,800 Rand in his bank account, but we've now discovered that it is an RD check, an unpaid check. So that 2,800 again needs to be reversed. Okay, previously we made an entry in our CRJ thinking that we are receiving 2,800. The guy doesn't have the money in his account, so naturally we received nothing. So we're now going to cancel this or reverse this entry in the CPJ. So let's do that. In our CPJ, we're going to make an entry for 2,800. Okay, let's find the CPJ quickly. There we go. So we've got an additional entry, 2,800, and this is obviously details would be debtors control. Okay, right, next bit of information. Okay, we've then been told a deposit of 17,250 from KZN Bank was deposited directly into the business's bank account. This was for the fixed deposit which matured. Okay, fixed deposit maturing, 17,215 Rand being paid directly into the business's bank account. Very straightforward. This is simply an additional CRJ, entry cash receipts journal. So let's enter this amount in our CRJ. So let's find our CRJ. There we go. An amount of 17,250, and my details would be fixed deposit. Okay. All right, next bit of information. Okay. A stop order in favor of Derbs Auto as an installment on a vehicle for 1,500 Rand, which was purchased on credit. Now remember, if we go back to the information above, these are entries that's appearing on the bank statement, but not in our journals. So we've got a debit order, an automatic payment from our bank account every month for 1,500 Rand. All we've got to do is enter this 1,500 Rand in the correct journal. It is a payment, so naturally, guys, the journal that we're going to enter this would be our CPJ. So let's do that. Let's go to our cash payments journal, and let's enter this 1,500 into that bank column. So 1,500. Okay, right, next bit of info.
Can I ask questions? We actually have 2 or 3.
It's fine. I'm actually trying to finish the bank recount, but you know what? If we don't, it's absolutely fine. Let's take some
Okay,
questions.
Zola says, hey, I would like to ask a question concerning, what happens if the check number was written incorrectly?
Okay, if the check number was incorrect, written incorrectly, doesn't really impact on the bank reconciliation statement.
Okay.
If the amount
Is
of the
like
check
what we
is
did, Nana.
incorrect,
Yes,
exactly,
and then
it would.
Fumazeli says, why wasn't the discount allowed cancelled?
The discount allowed will be cancelled if I'm doing the general journal.
Okay.
But according to this question, I'm doing the cash receipts journal, cash payments journal. There's no general journal.
Okay,
So
and
I don't
had
have to worry
one
about
more.
the discount.
Let me just get her name for you. Where is it? Oh, yeah. Zumpe Zondi says, go away. Need a little help. Where should we put a post-dated check?
Okay. Now, if it is a post-dated check, did they mention received or
No,
issued?
she just said.
Okay, a post-dated check issued. This is quite an important one. So
Okay,
I think
cool.
I should spend a bit of time on this. So the question again, guys, relates to PDCs, post-dated check. Megs, do you know what we mean by a PDC?
No.
Okay. Simply put,
She can
it
teach
means
me.
if, for example, I know that I will have a certain amount in my bank account at the end of the month. I know I'm going to get paid at the end of the month, and let's assume I am owing you 1,000 Rand.
Okay.
So I would then issue a check to Megan, but I would give you a PDC. I would date the check for the future.
Oh,
So
right,
I would
okay.
issue the check only at the end of, what are we now, in October?
Yes.
So let's assume I would give you a check, but it would be dated for the 31st of October. So I'm giving you the check today on the 17th of October, but it's only dated for the 31st of October. Now, this simply means that if you take this check and go to the bank, you go today, the bank is going to tell you, Meg, sorry, can you see this is a PDC? Okay, we cannot pay, or we can obviously not
Give you
cash
the money,
check
yes.
for you. Okay, so a PDC, a check that is post-dated, if the business issues a post-dated check, this is recorded in the CPJ, an entry is made in the cash payments journal, and it will remain in the bank reconciliation statement as an outstanding check. Okay.
Okay.
Right. Now remember, the business doesn't only issue PDCs, they might also receive a post-dated check. Now, if the business receives a post-dated check, it cannot go into the cash receipts journal just yet, because cash receipts journal means I'm receiving money, and technically a PDC, you are not receiving the money until that actual date which allows you to go and cash the check itself. So a post-dated check that is received needs to be entered in a PDC register, and it's normally kept in the business safe until the date where the cashier or the bookkeeper or the owner can take the check to the bank and deposit the check.
Awesome. And then I just have a shout out, and that's KG Sabashi says, please holler at the grade 11 students from HIC for me. So hello to all the HIC students. So I think we have time for one more entry in the bank reconciliation.
Okay.
So I think we should do that. There's no more questions for you or me.
Right. I'm a bit sad, Megs, because we're not going to be able to complete this bank recon. But it's absolutely fine. I'm sure the mindsetters can complete it on their own. Right. The next entry, a debit entry of 500 Rand, appeared in the bank statement. Upon investigation, it was discovered that the check was issued by CC Traders. Now, if we go back to the beginning of the question, we are the accountants for a business called CC Suppliers. Okay, so there was a check that was issued by CC Traders. In other words, another business with a very similar name. So in terms of this actual entry, it is quite clear that the bank has made an error. Instead of debiting the account of CC Traders, they've taken out 500 Rand from our account, from CC Suppliers. Very similar to what we were talking about at the beginning of the show, Megs. So by mistake, 500 Rand has been taken out of the bank's account. Where are we going to correct this? Or what are we going to do? The bank has taken away 500 Rand from my account. I am upset.
So we're going to call the bank.
I'm going to call the bank and I'm going to inform them. And remember, when you do this, you need to make an entry in the bank reconciliation statement. So you inform the bank, but to remind the business that there is an error, an entry is made on the bank recon statement. So let's do that. 500 Rand was debited by mistake from our account. So if we go to the bank recon statement, should be the next one. Okay, so on the face of the bank reconciliation statement, I'm going to write this towards the bottom. We're going to tell the bank credit, incorrect, debit. In other words, we're simply telling the bank, you took out 500 Rand from my account, now it's time for you to put back the 500 Rand into our account.
And then I have a question. I don't know if this is actually for this. It says, how do I know whether the balance as per the bank account is credit or debit? What is this? Hey, what? The
as
same
per the bank account.
Yes.
Okay, right. Guys, remember, if you are talking about the bank statement, in the bank statement, a debit represents unfavorable, a credit will represent favorable, as per the bank's records. Because remember, the banks have an absolutely opposite relationship in terms of our records, in terms of we see the bank as a debtor, whereas the bank sees us as creditors, and it can be vice versa as well. Okay, balance as per bank general ledger. So in this case, in our records, a debit represents favorable. Okay, let's extend that. And a credit represents unfavorable.
Awesome.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right, I don't think we have time to get to the last bit of bank recon. But
Unfortunately.
that's absolutely fine.
Are you ready? Say goodbye.
Yeah, I am a
My
bit
Hesh
sad.
and Megan. Anyway, grade 11s, thank you for a great show. Thank you for tuning in to Mindset Learn Extra. Of course, we had a fantastic time here on accounting exam revision. Don't go anywhere. After this is maths literacy with grade 11s as well. So, see you in about 5 minutes. Cheers, guys.
A bank reconciliation is a comparison of the internal records meaning something that is prepared by you, the business's accountant, and, okay, let's just start over. A bank reconciliation is a comparison of internal records, we've got that part, to the external records of a business. Right, now let's look at internal records. I already mentioned an internal record is what is prepared by the business's accountant. Now, which records are we talking about? Here, we are focusing on the cash journals, so your CRJ and your CPJ, that's prepared by the accountant, the bank general ledger account, and the previous month's bank reconciliation statement. Now, those are your internal records prepared by you, the business's accountant. Right, the external records. What do we mean by external? Now, the word external, okay, let's just undo that. The word external, guys, if I had to ask, let's ask Megan.
Oh, great.
Okay. Megan, the word external, what do you understand by that term?
Outside,
Outside.
not internal. Externals being outside. Yeah, I would just say outside.
Absolutely
Just
correct.
outside.
Outside, in other words, it is prepared by an external accountant, the bank's accountants, and this is in the form of the bank statement. Okay, so your definition, firstly, a bank reconciliation is a comparison. I am comparing internal records prepared by the business's accountant to external records prepared by the bank's accountant. Okay, you guys got that? Right, the comparison is necessary and an important internal control as errors and omissions meaning certain things may be left out, are identified. Okay, so it serves as an internal control measure against cash, hence...
So you guys want me to help you, and we all just want to work together as, you know, team mindset. But let me just stop there and let me carry on with all the other things we have going here at Mindset. As you know, Mindset and Samsung have partnered up. Samsung have proudly sponsored the Learning Hub application. Voila, let me show you on this fantastic Samsung tablet. The word fantastic comes up again. Here, as you can see, it's the Learning Hub. There, you download content, you download free content, and it's new content every single day, guys. How amazing is that? Super cool. All you have to do is download it on a Samsung tablet or premium smartphone. But you know what? If you don't have one of those, you guys could win one. And how do you do that? Log on to our Facebook page, facebook.com/learnextra with an X. We've posted all the details. All you guys have to do is download the notes that we're doing on this show right now. Look for the race number at the bottom and enter it into the link on Facebook. But you could win either a tablet or anything. So we had a draw yesterday. That could be you, Mindsetter. Enter, enter, enter. Your name will go into another 6 or 9 draws. How amazing and cool is that? You could win yourself a cool tablet. But don't forget as well, Samsung just want to tell you, if I can just put over here, that it's revision and a video, so coincides, you can see and learn, and it's all about revision. I just wanted to reiterate that. But enough about me. I just want to rock on to reconciliation, and I think we should get started, Mindsetters. So let's go, Mahesh. I think we should.
Thanks, Megan. Right, guys, grade 11s, today we're going to be focusing on reconciliations, and more specifically, look at the bank reconciliation, and thereafter, if we have time, we're going to focus on your creditors reconciliation. Now, let's start, before we go to an actual question, by doing a very quick recap on what is a bank reconciliation. What do we need to look at when we are completing a bank reconciliation question in that November exam? Okay, let's just get rid of this. There we go. Right, firstly, guys, your definition. What is a bank recon?
Welcome, grade 11s. It's accounting today. I'm so excited. I'm here with my lovely lady, Mahesh, and I'm so excited that you guys are here because we are doing, as you know, revisions. Grade 11s, that is so important for you, and I just want to tell you that I'm so excited to be here again on a fantastic Thursday. So, Mahesh, how have you been?
I'm fantastic, Megan.
Fantastic, why so?
And isn't it fantastic? And I know we're using the word fantastic again. To be here and to be able to help the grade 11s for a change.
I know, it's always grade 12s, not that they're not important, but grade 11s, your studies are also important and we care about you. So what are we doing today?
Today, grade 11s, we're focusing on reconciliations. And remember, guys, for you, when we talk about reconciliations, the focus shifts to bank recon and creditors recon.
Okay, well, Mahesh told me, she was like, can I ask you questions? So I said, oh, well, she can try, but I'll do my best because I know